Hi, welcome back. In this video we will see how to manage items at a reseller as well as how to work with the sales history. We will start with the reseller stock page. The information on this page should correspond to the current state of your inventory at your resellers. The page uses a grid that is very similar to the one we examined in detail in the previous video. Notice how on this page you have additional filters that lets you select a reseller. And also notice the two radio buttons below it, one called Show Not Sold and the other called Show Sold. Let's examine the resellers filter first. This filter allows you to work with the inventory of a particular reseller. You will almost always want to set this filter when working with this page, since you are usually performing transactions on items that are assigned to a specific reseller. Sometimes, though, you might want to leave this filter on all. For example, when you want to find out which are the resellers that have a certain model, or say, when you want to perform a transaction for some items across all of your resellers. Let's see an example of this. Say we want to set the same price for all items of model Anna across all of our resellers. We will leave the reseller filter on all and set the model filter on Anna. We select all items of model Anna. Then we set the transaction to set price for all selected items. Input the new price and execute the transaction. We have changed the price, as you can see. Notice that on this page, when a reseller is not selected in the filter, there is a link with the reseller's name near the name of the item's model. This is the name of the reseller to which the items belong. Clicking on this link has the same effect as selecting the reseller in the filter. An item at the reseller can be in two states, not sold and sold. When the item arrives at the reseller, either from the warehouse or directly when adding items, it's always in the not sold state. We may choose some items that are in the not sold state and mark them as sold. Let's see how it works using a real-life situation. Say we got a call from this store and they tell us that 2 out of 5 items of model Dana were sold. We will select the 2 items and mark them as sold. Now we have 3 items in the not sold stage and 2 items in the sold stage. Next, say, after some time we receive the check for the 2 items. We can select them and perform the payment received transaction on them. This will move the items to sales history. We will examine that in a second. We could have moved items to sales history directly from the not sold state as well. The important thing to realize is that when we mark the items as sold, it does not mean that we've already received payment for them. So it's an intermediate state. It's a feature that allows us to mark some items as sold before actually receiving the payment for them. You may choose not to use this functionality at all, or maybe use it only for some of your resellers, the ones that give you information during the month. To summarize this point, which may be a bit confusing in the beginning, let's examine a diagram on the Help Center page. The diagram sums the states an item may have. As you can see, when the item is added from the Add Inventory page, it may either be assigned to a warehouse or to a specific reseller. We saw this in the previous video. Items in the warehouse are managed from the warehouse stock page. Items at a reseller may be in 2 states, not sold and sold. Items at a reseller are managed through the reseller stock page. Regardless of the item state at the reseller, it can be changed to sales history, which is the final state for the item, after we receive the payment for it. We can see those items on the sales history page. What is not shown on the diagram is that at any stage an item may be deleted or marked as lost. Let's look next at the sales history page. As you can see, it is very similar to the previous two pages that we've examined. We have the same type of grid. One new filter on this page is the date range filter. This gives us the ability to monitor sales history across time. The filters on this page can be used to answer many questions about your past sales. The most common question will be, how many and which specific items were sold by a certain reseller X during some time period Y? Let's see an example. Which items were sold from January until March of this year by the reseller Main Street? How many of them were items of category dress? How many dresses were sold by all resellers during this period? You can always collapse the side menu to get more space for the grid. This is especially useful when working with a device like an iPad. In the next video, we will examine other tools available with RunInventory to compare the performance of your resellers and your models.